Hello and welcome to CryptoWeeklies. In this video, we discuss Bitcoin, uh, and none of the content is financial advice. Right now, the price of BTC is at around 84K. We discussed today its drop, the recent drop Bitcoin has had of about 6.5% over the last 7 days. Now you can see it in the charts as well. Again, this is the monthly view, but if you go to the weekly view of this chart and again look closely at the recent drop that Bitcoin has had over the course of the last 7 to 8 days. Not not too long ago, in the week that ended on January 19th, the price of BTC was at one point close enough to 94K. Now it's almost $10,000 lower. Where does that leave Bitcoin again? The price still is not yet close to that level of potential level of support. It did come couple of times close to it at around 80K. Recent candle weeks, recent candle bodies and weeks did took the price to at around 80,700 or so. But again, largely speaking, again the major area of support, if you were to do some technical analysis using the 2025 drop as a guidance during that February till about April 2025 lows, the price of Bitcoin did find some support at around 77K. So that level has yet to be tested. Maybe it might get tested in February or March. If it gets tested sooner or later, there might be some sort of a bounce from that level of support before again, if there is further downside in the later half of, let's say, Q2 of 2026, closer to end of spring, start of summer, maybe towards end of May or end of April of 2026, there could be further downside again. But largely speaking, we are not there yet at even the first macro area of support for Bitcoin. And potentially what might lie ahead of us is the drop to the 200-week simple moving average. As discussed previously on the videos on this channel, in the bear market, the price does come close to this blue line, if not fall below the blue line. And that usually signals, again, whenever this blue line turns into a white line like it did in 2019 for a brief period of time, or even in 2018, it came really close to that drop to the 200 week, and then twice in this bear market of the last cycle in 2022, from June 2022 till March 2023, then again from May 2023 to July 2023, and then the third time from August 2023 till about October 2023. This potential period where the asset class is in probably in the depths of the panic or lackluster social sentiment, in that environment, especially in the 4 year cycle theory, per the 4 year cycle theory, the price eventually has the record of going back below the 200 week. And what it did the last time, again from that drop in 2015, when the price was first noted, is first 300 week completion, this green line. But in the last bear market, this green line turned red when the price went below the 300 week. Back then, the 300 week simple moving average was at around 18,000. The drop for Bitcoin came at around $15,900 or so. This time around, the 300 week simple moving average has grown from that 18,000 level to now almost at around $50,200 level. So again, those two levels again, and this is it's a static level, and at as of this point. But if you were to extrapolate it, it might, the 300 week moving average might have a slightly higher angle of ascent than the 300 week simple moving average, as Bitcoin has spent a considerable amount of time above $50,000 level, essentially since that first major milestone that Bitcoin achieved of about 50K level back in February 2024. So entirety of, you could say, almost entirety of 2024, entirety of 2025, and potentially now completing 2 years into that territory of higher than 50K prices, could lead that 300 week simple moving average at around 60-65K towards the end of 2026, or even in the end of third quarter of 2026. So that drop if there is a drop in let's say Q2 or late Q3 of 2026, the 200 week and the 300 week simple moving average could come into the picture. So where we are nowhere close to that point yet. From the Fibonacci level perspective, again, not much has happened in terms of Bitcoin's price action going low. If it were to have a 60-61% drop from cycle to cycle, the drops are less severe. In the last bear market, from the 2021 high to the 2022 low, the drop was at around 77%. This time around, again, the conservative estimation for that drop is somewhere between 50 to 60%. If Bitcoin were to only drop 50% from the eventual peak, that $125 peak that Bitcoin had in October of 2025, half or 50% of that is at around 62K. So that's one milestone again, which kind of might be confluent with that 300 week simple moving average getting to that point in September, October 2026. And then if there is, again, as 2022 showed, the price does not stop falling when it just magically reaches the 300 week simple moving average. It has a tendency to go slightly below that. So in that scenario, if the price were to go below the 300 week simple moving average, let's say dropping to 55%, then the low could be around 56K. All the way going to 60% would be the low would be around 50K. Coming back to our own website, the CryptoWeeklies.com website, what we have for these are the bull case forecasts for Bitcoin. Again, in the next bull run, price could go somewhere close to 150K to about 250K in a bullish seasonality again. And that could be, if the bottom for Bitcoin is at around 50K, that could be somewhere between 3x from that bottom to about 5x. Coming to our website's homepage, Bitcoin, and the major risk associated with Bitcoin right now is the difference between the price and the time weighted average price. This delta usually towards the end of the bear market is less than 20%. So the time weighted average price and the bottoms are within touching distance, if not at touching distance, with a gap of 20-25%. 20-25% on that, let's say 30K as the time weighted average price, we can have some wiggle room, and a 25% on that 30K would be somewhere close to 7.5K. So around 38K would be the distance per the time weighted average price based model. Again, this is the time weighted average price at this point, but let's say if the bottom occurs in October, November 2026, back in that time period, the extrapolated time weighted average price could be well close to 35 to 40K. So adding a 20% on the 40K would take the bottom analysis closer to 48K. That would be 20% higher than the time weighted average price. So again, that kind of scenarios might be ahead of us, again using historical data as evidence. And from the regression model, again, this is a essentially a 2 degrees freedom or quadratic polynomial based regression function, helps identify what is a bull phase or bear phase for Bitcoin based on this fair value regression trend line. What we see right now is the drop to this gray line at around 79K. Below 79K, that level could correspond to, at least in the short term, some sort of a panic in the market, where let's say the major drop, like they did back in 2022 when the price went sub 35K level in May of 2022. There was one major drop in June 2022, 1 month following that, where the price essentially dropped by 45 to 50% from $35,000 level to essentially at around $19,000 level within only 1 month or 1.5 month of a span between those two events. So those events are still, again, might be way out into the future, but again, in bear markets, it's quite typical. You can see even in 2018 as an example, in late 2018, when then the price kind of met this regression based trend line, it had already started its downturn, but the sharp or steep decline from that $6,400 level to essentially 50% drop to $3,200 level came within a span of few weeks to months. So as this line in sand, if Bitcoin were to kind of hold this area as support at around 79k, there might be one more counter trend rally. And if not, if the support kind of breaks over here to the downside, then there might be a rally to that 79k, like it tried in 2022, trying to get above this regression based trend line. Failing to do that, there was another major drop. So again, those are some of the bearish tidings. And again, bear markets are not the worst time to DCA in the asset class. Again, if you are a long-term believer in the asset class, instead of DCAing when everybody is bullish, doesn't make sense over the longer period of time. Great deals are usually occurring or offered in the asset class whenever the prices are all the way down here. Again, DCA at 20k or 15k, 15.8k would have essentially be an 8x in October 2025, whereas DCA even in the euphoria phase of 2021 was even less than 2x from cycle to cycle. So Bitcoin from 70 almost 69k to 125k was less than 2x return. So that's why, again, whenever the market when nobody is interested in buying, if DCA occurs at those levels, again, not financial advice, that works out better in the longer haul. So this chart tries to explain that. All in all, the bear market bottoms for Bitcoin. These are some of the severe downturns estimated by our models. If let's say Bitcoin were to drop another 45% from the current price, that could be the base bear case as mentioned, and the rationality provided why the level around 50k makes some sort of a decent case if there is a severe bear market ahead of us. Again, in a recessionary trend, Bitcoin never had a full recession as part of its existence, only a short recession in 2020. If there is a full recession, the price could go as low as about 32k. In let's say a 2 standard deviation drop with a panic in the market, wider panic in the market or macro environment, price of Bitcoin could easily drop 50%. Again, that would require wider market indices such as S&P 500 to drop more than 20-25%. Let's say in that environment, if S&P and wider asset class were to drop 20-25%, it wouldn't be hard to imagine Bitcoin dropping 50%. With that, I would like to conclude by saying, again, as the Bitcoin risk in terms of the time weighted average price model is high and hasn't visited the first area of support yet, and also nowhere close to the 200-week or 300-week moving average. It's right now, again, it's not the best time per my interpretation of the models. Better deals might be available in mid to late 2026. So worth checking those out. None of the content financial advice. Hope you enjoyed these content. If you did, please give a like and subscribe, and check out all of these individual charts on CryptoWeeklies.com. You don't have to pay or sign up for anything. This is my own website. And again, you can check out all of the videos historically published on CryptoWeeklies YouTube channel, the channel that you're watching. We have over 1,000 videos, but if you have a specific interest, we do have some playlists dedicated to Bitcoin only, and also another related to altcoins, ETH related playlists. So you can avail those playlists as well to check what were our forecast throughout the bullish case in the asset class, the bearish case, and the neutral case. With that, I would like to conclude with this chart, the AI based, machine learning based forecast for Bitcoin. Last but not the least, this model trained on over 10 years of Bitcoin's price action since 2014 at a weekly level, and uses seasonal ARIMA based LSTM and XGBoost based machine learning models developed in-house to identify what could be a bottom for Bitcoin in a non-panic bear market. 70k, that's only these forecasts only go out 6 months out into the future, in late June, early July 2026. The non-panic bear case for Bitcoin is at around 70k. If there is a panic, price could go as low as less than 50k. With that, those are the forecasts. Hope you enjoyed this content. I wish better days were ahead in the asset class, but again, we might be in the bearish phase of the 4-year market cycle theory. So just plan accordingly, not financial advice. Hope you enjoyed this content and hope to see you again tomorrow. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye.